Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and at the request of Patreon subscriber your pal Andrew, this is Dimir Cloudpost. I played one round with this deck last week in my playoff with Eco Brone and showcasing decks we thought would be good in the new metagame, and I thought this deck was good in the old metagame. It was unaffected by the bans, and it's still fully intact. This deck borrows the Planar Nexus, Urza's Tower, mana base from Mystic Forge. It has Karn in the One Ring and Kozilek's Command, the same as Mystic Forge. And from there it deviates significantly. Cloudpost and Glimmerpost also filter through Planar Nexus. So Planar Nexus is the nexus of all the interactions in the deck. Urza's Tower goes through this, Cloudpost goes through this, and it gets you going in a bunch of different directions. So we actually have more redundancy of Planar Nexus than the Mystic Forge deck does, but we're doing something different. Instead of reaching a combo endgame, this is a control deck. And it's a ramp deck, but it is a control deck as well. 6 forces to keep you alive, a bunch of blue cards, Sink into Stupor and Lorien Revealed, that double as lands. These are lands and blue cards to support all these 6 forces. Stock Up keeps you going. Waterlogged Teachings, another land that's a blue card. That's also a tutor in the mid game. Thundertrap Trainer, great on 2, insane on 6. And at some point, Ugin will take over the game, or Karn will take over the game. And those are how you actually win. In my experience, this deck has been extremely resilient to Wasteland. The Wall of Permission means that it's tough to get something like Back to Basics down on it. In Blood Moon, the decks that play Blood Moon are usually doing it on turn 1, which is a little tougher, but we have more forces than they have Blood Moons, because we got 6, and you can only play 4 of those. And before people point out Magus the Moon. Oh, decks that really want it could have 8 Blood Moons, and with Avatar becoming legal soon, it will be legal. It's not legal right now when I'm recording this, but it will be very soon after. There is another creature that becomes Magus the Moon eventually, very slowly, but there could be 12 of those if they really want them. We have 2 islands. We have ways to tutor our islands. We have colorless spells that just play through Blood Moon. We get to be a Chalice of the Void deck in addition to all this counterspell. This deck is relentless and it's powerful. It has inevitability over basically every deck in the format. Your opponents have to thread the needle of killing you before you set up through your Wall of Permission with the Chalices and 6 forces, or catch you in transition where you force their early plays, but you haven't quite resolved the One Ring or an Ugin yet. But even the deck has Glimmerpost, a bunch of passive life gain to get through that. And the decks that would be problems for this deck normally, like Red Stompy, probably Delver would put you under a lot of pressure. 4 copies of Barrogoyf in the sideboard. You could cast these off the 1 Underground Sea or the 4 Planar Nexus, or the Waterlogged Teachings. That's a blue-black land on the back. Bunch of routes to that. Whole juke plan in the sideboard. I have 2 Eternal Weekends coming up, Italy and Japan, and I'll just say it, I am considering this deck. It's on my short list. I'm considering many decks. This isn't like my default choice, but I've been impressed playing against this deck. I've been impressed the couple times I've gotten to play with the deck, and let's see how this league goes today. I'm on the draw in round 1 versus Sylvia Watoru, who is a well-known Izzet player, Izzet Delver player, even when it's out not good in the metagame, but it currently is good in the metagame. This is a good match to have if my opponent is on their normal business, because I'm on the draw in a matchup I perceive to be difficult, so this is a good test. I really like the Chalice of the Void. I don't like that it's not happening quickly. Force of Will's not very good in this matchup. I have no real path to the One Ring. I'm going to mulligan this. All right, here we go. Probably bottom Ugin here. 3, 4, 5, 6. Even if all my lands stay in play, they still don't cast Ugin. Though he is the type of thing that will stabilize a game if we get there. Maybe I bottom the Teachings, actually. Teachings is blue for my various forces, but I don't want to draw them. Teachings can tutor Kozilek's Command that could kill a Delver. There is an Ensnaring Bridge in my sideboard for Karn. Okay, I'm going to get rid of Teachings, actually, and have some faith that the deck will deliver another post or a tower to get this Ugin on the stack. Mishra's Bauble played. Getting a look at what I'm up to over here. I hope that just sees basic island and doesn't tell a whole story. Most of the cards in my deck tell the whole story. There's a lot of dead giveaways. Okay, very happy to see Preordain instead of Delver or Dragon's Rage Channeler. They could be setting up a big Core Steel Cutter next turn. Top to the Preordain. Spooky. But I am glad that that wasn't immediate pressure. They've drawn both the Preordain cards. Urza's Tower. Interesting. And the Nexus turns on the post. So I will lead on the tower. They know about it. And it's one that I don't mind. In terms of all the things that could get wastelanded in my hand, that one's actually okay. Because Nexus still filters post up into the big mana. And because I have Glimmer Post, I kind of would prefer to go the Locust route than the Tron route. And of course, it's possible they just don't have Wasteland and I get to cast Thundertrap Trainer next turn through Daze or Karn if I'm willing to risk it. Okay, they do have the Wasteland. Did not shuffle Ponder to find it. That's fine. Cloudpost. This one I would be a little bummed if it gets Wastelanded. Not a Wasteland. Okay, do I want to spend Force of Will here? It loses my Thundertrap Trainer. But even if they win the fight over it with something like Daze, then they don't have a Monk this turn. I think on the back of this Ugin, I'm trying to get to Ugin, and anything that makes this take a little longer is okay. Okay, so the Cutter resolves, but they've already cast 2 spells this turn, so it won't make a Monk. So a little bit of pressure off. Yo. Sometimes you just draw the thing that you just pitched a Force of Will. I get to cast something this turn, Planar Nexus, filtering that mana. They just spent a Daze. If they want to spend another one, then they'll have no lands in play going into their next turn. If they Force of Will this, that clears the way for Karn. Okay. So the double Daze was worth it to them, which means they need a 0-drop to trigger this Cutter next turn. Volcanic Island, not Wasteland. Baubled me. There's Brainstorm to flip the Monk into play. So I'd have 4 less life right now if I hadn't forced the first time. Oh yeah. 1 ring, which they did see. They baubled this. I'm just going to jam the best card here. I found a Force, not currently helpful. Didn't play Wasteland, that's good. And Murktide Regent is one of the scary plays they could have this turn. I have 5 mana. If I draw anything that nets 2 mana, or nets 1 mana, like any land that taps for more than 1, off of the top 3 cards in my deck, I have Ugin. Glimmer Post does that because it taps for 1 and Cloudpost gets a bonus off it while gaining 1 trillion life. And they've already used 2 Dazes, so I'm just gonna run the gamut here. Sick. Okay, I guess I should gain 3 life and draw a card. And now I have Force back up. They clearly are out of counter magic. I'd be impressed if they could deal 9 to Ugin this turn, or 26 to me. Petty Theft targeting Ugin. That's interesting. So did they draw Wasteland? And I'm just going to replay it. All right. I'll put that in my hand. I'm not going to fight over that. All right, so they did draw Wasteland. That makes sense. Taking out Cloudpost puts me down to 3 mana. Yeah, maybe I should have predicted that better. Maybe I got a little greedy there, but I still have a 1 ring active. Draw a Gajillion. And Tower is here. What does Tower do? It casts Ugin next turn. I could put Karn on the stack now and then just like wish for nothing. I do have a Tormod's Crypt. I could just like knock out their graveyard in case a Murktide is coming my way. Nexus. I could also cast Stock Up, but my hand is already full. That's not my problem. All right, Karn's in. Plussing on Core Steel Cutter would knock it off of the Monk, but it would be a 2/2. Like it might be worth more stats as a creature. And Snaring Bridge, funny how little that matters here. I already have to discard a hand size. I might just plus on nothing. All right, yeah, I'm just going to plus on nothing, actually. And I'm going to discard a Sink into Stupor. And maybe I was just supposed to, like, put... Though, if they deal 6 to Karn this turn, that's 6 I didn't take. And if Karn survives at 2, then Ugin is guaranteed a second trigger, which is what I want in life. I'm actually going to force a negation this. My hand is overflowing with spells, including Double Force. And if they want to sink their whole turn into fighting Karn. I'll just take over with Ugin next turn. Yeah, I think if I had just forced the Petty Theft last turn, this game would be already over, though. So definitely got a little greedy on that one. Identified why they would make that play and then didn't play around it anyway. Delver, this triggers the Cutter, puts 4 power into play, which means that Karn will survive with a Wish left over if they fully attack Karn. And if they ignore Karn, they're in all sorts of trouble in a different way. Perfect. Okay, so Karn can just grab like Tormod's Crypt or something that kills the second thing with Ugin here. I'll draw my 4 cards first. I'm entitled to those. Give them to me. Or I will take them. All right, you know I have Ugin. I think I actually want to take out a Monk rather than the Cutter, because there is actual pressure on me already. And then Karn, I'm going to get Tormod's Crypt just as a 0 mana free spell. This will exile Delver. And then I'm going to make 3 mana with Ugin, which will exile the Monk and the Cutter while drawing me a card. Exile target creature, target player scries X draws a card. The Ugin trigger gets the Cutter, the spell itself gets the Monk, and they've had enough. Okay, so Blue-Red Delver on the play with 2 free permission spells and 2 Wastelands, and that game was still not really competitive. And it's just 1 game, but that's exciting. Exciting for the prospects of this deck. I mean, Barrowglyphs come in here, Force of Negation comes out. That part's easy. Dismember is interesting because there are points in the game where you just can't afford to cast it early enough. If you like hit a Dragon's Rage Channeler, it was going to deal 4 to you anyway. So it's kind of washes out. And this is a air quotes black deck. So casting Dismember for at least 1 black, if not 2, is on the table. Maybe the forces in general are just not what I'm about. That is generally how I like to approach Delver matchups, but protecting your 1 big hitter does seem to be important here. I actually think with 4 Barrowglyph, 2 Ugin, 4 Kozilek's Command, I don't want to mess around with Dismember versus this deck. Okay, let's go. I don't think Cloudpost, Double Force of Will, second tap land that's not a locust is my jam here. I'm going to mulligan. This is slow-ish, but it does have a post. It's going to hit its land drops. I like Thunder Trap. All right, I'll keep this. Maybe I'm supposed to go to 5, abuse that London mulligan, but you know me. I love keeping 7. And do I want to hinge my hat on getting to Ugin again? That really was where game 1 turned. Okay, I'm going to have faith that more lands will show up rather than more Ugins will show up. Delver, okay. The turn 1 threat. Remember game 1 they started with Preordain? This one they're starting with a real card. I will risk the Cloudpost into the opening keep Wasteland because it is just my best land to play. Okay, they do have the Wasteland. Casting Null Rod instead. Okay. Don't love that for my long-term plans, but my mana comes from lands, not from artifacts, so I think that's okay. Ooh, I could kill Delver here. I was just going to play Thunder Trap Trainer, but now we've got different action. Exile target creature. Target player scars X draws a card. This is an insane target for days, but I simply cannot afford to play around that. Force of Negation, pitching Force of Negation. Okay. I didn't want to go into their untapped mana where they could like brainstorm for more answers. Though I did just get double fond in a position where if those were the counter spells in their hand, they would not have worked there. But I guess we can live with that. Oh, baby. The double Wasteland Delver Null Rod action. Well, there's Barrowglyph. I will play my Inundated Archive, and we'll see if the Juke can get over. Delver still refusing to flip. Thank you, Delver. Stay small. Dragon's Rage Channeler, not Delirious. Halfway there. Land number 3 for Barrowglyph. What's up? Thundertrap Trainer. Chalice of the Void and stock up. I mean, I could play Chalice next turn and it might impact the game, even if they Wasteland me a 3rd time. Chalice shuts off their whole shit, though. All right, I'm taking Chalice. I'm really hoping this Barrowglyph just wins the game. But if Delver flips Revealing Force, I could see if they care about Chalice of the Void for a turn. The Null Rod's also funny because how many Mishra's Baubles do they play? Do they board them out when they bring in Null Rod? If they do, that makes everything else worse. These clues don't work. Okay, so they were incentivized to dump out their whole hand because they saw Chalice coming. Couldn't attack my mighty 1/2 holding the fort. And now I have this freaking guy. It is only 2/3, which means it does die to Lightning Bolt because there's already a instant in the graveyard. Just please don't Lightning Bolt right now. That's all I need. I don't think taking the turn off to play around Bolt would make sense. However, that would be bad. All right. Consign to Memory. Flips Delver, but does not interact with Barrogoyf. Tamiyo banks a clue that doesn't work. And now I can actually attack with the Barrogoyf. If I play Chalice first, what does that do? That puts Artifact in the graveyard because they'll certainly consign it. It does give them 2 Surveils. All of that could grow Barrogoyf, but it could also grow Dragon's Rage Channeler to the point where it beats Barrogoyf. I could just Lorien Revealed here. That puts a sorcery in the graveyard. It costs me 2 life, but it plays around all their stuff. All right, Lorien Revealed. Nice. All right, that is a fat grip of gas. They could consign the Barrogoyf trigger just to stop it from getting any bigger and to get the Surveils off their DRCs. This might be worth it for the card selection, but they also know my hand is full of bangers. Okay, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If this thing goes all the way up, I could be at 4 on my next turn. Right, they did mill over a Bauble, but keep in mind that everything they put in the graveyard also grows my Barrogoyf. And I can still fog with my rings, even though I can't activate them. I've got triple fog lined up here. Yeah, they dumped double Mishra's Bauble, though they still have not gotten Delirium, despite their best efforts. I'm at 13, and I'll pass the turn. If they draw, like, Ponder here, and that gets Delirium and digs deeper, that could be real action. If they draw, like, a land or a counterspell or something here, I think they're dead. Okay, leaving Tamiyo back this time. Attacking that one, not doing a lot here. Okay, how do I want to sequence this? I've got 6 mana. Not all of it is colorless. I think I'm going to lead on Chalice. That's in. Good news for me. Attack with Barrogoyf. They're in chump mode over there. I could Fog, or I could Kozilek's Command. I think I want to Kozilek's Command. That can exile Delver and Tamiyo, and then they also lose Delirium. I could try to do it in combat and really smoke their life. Or I could just do it pre-combat. I could do it now where it's most likely to work. Once they have 2 cards in hand, Force is live. Okay, I'm just going to do it now. Exile target creature, exile up to X cards from graveyards, Delver, Tamiyo. If I can figure out how to cast this spell. Okay, I've cast the spell. Consign to Memory, I think, is the only card they could have here. Cool. All right. All of their pressure is gone again. I played around Daze, because that's a card they could have actually had. They could cast a 5/5 Murktide Regent, which gives up on Delirium for the entire game. That would that change the size of Barrogoyf? Yes, they have the only artifacts in the graveyard, and the only instant. Or no, I have Kindred Instant. I've got 2. So they could make a 5/5 Murktide while making Barrogoyf 4/5. They can't Unholy Heat for a variety of reasons. There's a Chalice on 1, and they don't have Delirium. But there is like the YOLO swing of casting a non-delirious Unholy Heat into double Surveil trigger and just hoping you get there. But the Chalice has that covered anyway. And they're done. Okay, like this is a matchup I was worried about. I was on the draw, and their hands were pretty good both games with multiple Wastelands, and that was still a pretty easy 2-0. I'll have to talk to my friends who have been playing more of this deck. Like, is this matchup as scary on paper or in real life as it seems on paper? Am I just reading it wrong? Is this just one match and it doesn't tell us much about the overall play patterns of the matchup? I'll have to look into this if I'm seriously considering this deck, but that actually felt awesome. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure.
TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here.
I'm on the play in round 2 with I'm going to keep. I was about to say mono colorless hand, but that's not even true because I have Sink into Stupor. I can turn 2 Thundertrap Trainer if I want to. If I ever draw a Planar Nexus, we're just in the stratosphere immediately. My thoughts. Okay, I'll probably lose Thundertrap Trainer here unless they think cutting me off blue is what we're about. Though if this is like Dimir Tempo, this Ugin might be the most imminent problem. Okay. Yeah, I could see arguments for any of the cards in my hand there. The One Ring. I'm familiar with that card. All right, I'm going to post up here. Just gain my life, pass. If I draw Planar Nexus, I'm casting Ring around days regardless. Like Nexus would make post tap for 3. And by regardless, I mean of which land I played last turn. Like whether investing the tower. Investing the tower, if I top deck Planar Nexus, I immediately have 6 mana, but I don't need 6 mana. I need 5. Stock up. Okay. I will take some damage to cast Stock up here. I'm not under any pressure. This could be Dimir Tempo. It could be a Slowpoke Reanimator deck. Whatever that looks like in the new format. It could be Storm, who's just taking their sweet time. I don't know. But I found Nexus and Karn. That is the mana and the payoff. If this is Dimir Tempo, I feel phenomenal right now. If they pivot into a combo, if this is Doomsday, anything like that, we could be in some trouble. Tamiyo, okay. All right, going straight to Flip Town. That interaction still exists in the format. All right, now, many turns later, I do wish I had the Urza's Tower in play. So maybe that's a sequence I was supposed to lean into earlier. Okay, you've got a Wasteland. All right, taking me off blue instead of off lots. I accept. Chalice of the Void, interesting. I think that might be good enough to bait a counterspell, and then I can go completely insane next turn. All right, Chalice resolved without a fight. That's anything Tamiyo could grab, now not available. They know I have Ugin. They don't know I have Planar Nexus to cast Ugin. Like Petty Theft plus Thoughtseize would be kind of a bummer here, but I have multiple payoffs at this point. Barrogoyf. All right, I can beat that. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 mana, actually. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ugin, Cook, Barrogoyf. If they have Force of Will, that's not great. They don't. I will add 3 mana and then cast Karn, which will kill Tamiyo. Even if this gets countered, like they clearly don't have Force, but if they have Daze, that's fine because the One Ring will then win the game afterwards. Okay. Yep, Daze is fine. And I have another likely better colorless card to cast next turn if they just like jam Murktide right now. Or another Barrogoyf. Bitter Triumph, okay. Spent 3 life on that one. So that was just a 3-for-1 all day. I think I'm going to lead on stock up and see if they want to start a fight too early, and then I'll just jam the One Ring after this. The other Ugin. And do I want a Kozilek's Command or a Teachings? I think I want Kozilek's Command. I would probably just teach for Kozilek's Command, though. That makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4. The One Ring resolves. And I can't imagine what my opponent could do from here that I would care about. I guess if they are Doomsday after all that, but even against Doomsday, I could target them with Kozilek's Command at the base of their pile and still just kill them. The cards I have to think about right now are Orcish Bowmaster, but I can beat that pretty easily in a variety of ways. I don't expect Hull Breacher, but same story. All right, Orcish Bowmaster has resolved. Do I want to kill this with Ugin and take the damage, or I could just kill it now with Kozilek's Command? I'll let Ugin do the work and hold on to Kozilek's command. I can afford to take 2 extra damage here. I'm doing okay. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ugin. Target Orcish Bowmaster. Resolves. Gain 3 life, draw a card. Sink into Stupor. And this taps for 3, and I can do that anytime. So I think what I'm going to do is Thunder Trap Trainer right now. This can chump the Orc army if I needed to. Do I want Karn to win the game or Force of Will to make sure I don't lose it? I think I want Force of Will. Between Active One Ring and Ugin, I think I'm okay figuring out how I'm going to win the game. Bitter Triumph, Ugin. They know I have Force of Will. I will spend it here. And they're done. Cool. Okay, that does appear to be Dimir Tempo. And as we saw last round, I'm actually much less scared of Dimir Tempo than I am of Izzet. Izzet can just hit you so hard, they could make your life total a problem before the Ancient Tombs and One Rings can bail you out. But the Dimir deck is so much slower. Are they slow enough that Dismember is actually okay? I do think Dismember is okay. I just don't know what I would cut for it. I do like some number of Force of Wills, but maybe that's fine. Okay, here we go. I love consistently boarding down to less Force of Wills and still always having Force Blue card in my opener. That's how you do it. This hand, though, this is all fair mana unless I hit a Nexus, then it's insane. It is Force Blue card, but I don't value that highly in the matchup. They are a Wasteland deck, which they might keep on the strength of, and then my lands all being kind of modest could get me into the mid game. I'm going to mulligan. It's getting worse. I'm going to go to 5. Okay, it's getting better. I will keep this and get rid of probably Teachings and Ugin or Karn. And Ugin is just such a monster. Karn costs significantly less mana, though. I'm going to trust in the monster. Okay, done. Let's go. Urza's Tower plus Planar Nexus is Barrogoyf, by the way. This taps for 3, filter one of it into black, Barrogoyf. Okay, I am going to invest Cloudpost first. I'm not going to try to turbo out Barrogoyf versus the deck with Wasteland and Daze. They're also a deck with Thoughtseize, but I could not play around that regardless. All right, 2 bangers. You want the short-term banger or the long-term mega banger? All right, short-term banger is gone. And Nethergoyf. Okay. Just a little guy. I will not be offering my Planar Nexus up for Wasteland ever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is no fast route to Ugin here, but playing Tower does let me hit other medium-sized things like the Ring or Karn or Barrogoyf. Brainstorm doesn't change the size of Nethergoyf. They do have Wasteland. Do they want to save it for the Nexus in my hand or try to cut me off either Tron or Locust ahead of schedule? I think I would save it for the Nexus. That's the colored source, and it's worth like 5+ colorless mana. Okay. They do want to go after the tower. Does that mean there are 2 Wastelands over there, or just that they're getting jumpy and want to use it? All right, I've gained 2 life. I'm back to 20. Then I'm going to be back to 17. The clue tokens do work in this game, which they didn't against my previous opponent. Bummer. All right. They have weathered the storm to the point where I'm now in top deck mode. My deck is full of messed up top decks, which is kind of the point. But I do have to draw some of them. Another Goyf. I don't want to cycle this Lorien Revealed because I could cast it turn after next. I could also just cast Stock Up right now, so I will. And I think investing the Planar Nexus to get ahead of interaction is worth it. Okay, Force Blue card. They are empty. All right, here we go. Wasteland would be a tough rip for me. And they can tap out to crack a clue and still hit Wasteland and it'd be useful. I'm at 11, dead in 2 hits. There's a clue and a pass. All right. And here is a Lorien Revealed hard cast. It did resolve. I'm going to take a big crush of damage this turn and then stabilize? Question mark? It's close. It's very close. Ponder brings Tamiyo closer to flipping. A land guarantees the Tamiyo flips this turn. There's also a lot of looks at Wasteland, but I do have another Nexus now. We found Wasteland. This is definitely going to hit Nexus. Ooh, okay. The triple threat. Hey, I'm at 5. How do we navigate this? Thundertrap Trainer probably helps. If I play Planar Nexus, I will have 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. That's enough to Thundertrap Trainer, and then also Kozilek's Command to kill one thing and exile some cards from graveyards. I could also just Kozilek's Command for 4, the full tap out, exile one of their things, make some spawns. I could play Thundertrap Trainer first, see what my hand looks like. I think I'm going to do that. The One Ring, huh? Maybe I'll just cast that. All right, put the One Ring in my hand. And 1, 2, 3, 4, the ring. Their hand has to be Daze right now. And it is not. Okay, I have protection. Draw a card will put me to 4. Another ring, and the chain begins. It's still worth it to attack with Tamiyo here. Cracking a clue. They're looking for that third Wasteland of the game. 2 cards in hand represents Force now. A mana open represents Consign. I do have to think about stuff now that I didn't have to think about before. All right, the third Brainstorm flips the Tamiyo. Finding a Karn this turn can Tormod script them and they have no pressure. Because that's how another Goyf works. Just casting the second ring guarantees me another turn. They did just look at a lot of cards, but they've already played their land drop. Right, I take 1 down to 4. Force of Will drawn for turn. Draw 2 more. Glimmer Post. That's big. That's worth 2 mana and 4 life in this position. Post up, baby. Back to 8. And then I have Force back up here. I could be pretty mean. I think I just want to play the other One Ring and leave up Kozilek's Command to mess with Tamiyo. Other ring, I'd like to keep the new one and draw more cards. Tower, that's infinite mana next turn. And I'll pass. I have Kozilek's Command with Force backup. If they try to minus Thoughtseize onto, or minus Tamiyo onto Force, I will use Kozilek's Command to blow that out. Exile another Goyf plus whatever Tamiyo targets, I think is my plan. All right, the fourth Brainstorm, they've all been used. Wasteland is still pretty good here, though Cloudpost is good for 3, even without Planar Nexus's help. They played a land that is not the one I was worried about. Okay, plus Tamiyo, so they're going for the roof here. One of my Ugins is already gone. Right, end step Kozilek's Command. I want to spend my mana here. Do I want to play around Daze? Do I want to respect that at all? Oh, I have protection. I can't even do this. Waterlog Grove, or Waterlog Teachings. I can play that one. This one I don't care if they Daze, but it's also good if it resolves. A Dismember Sync. Sync can bounce Tamiyo if she gets too close to being good. I have another turn before that's a problem, and if I have double Kozilek's Command in my hand, how bad could it get? Famous last words, right? All right, I am going to take another command. I go to 7. They're still not representing Bowmaster with the mana they're showing. There's Ugin. That's the one I was really looking for. Right now I can beat a Consign to Memory because they can't kick it. How many spells can I cast? Enough? I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ugin. Cook the Tamiyo first. Okay, that happened successfully. Force pitching Kaito. Force back. Puts me to 6, which is actually 4 because of the ring. Ugin needs to make mana here, I think. It doesn't have to, but it's gonna. All right. Ugin makes mana. Kozilek's Command. I'm going to Scry X, draw a card, and exile target creature. And then I'll exile a different creature with the Ugin trigger. All right, 2 down. Yeah, Thundertrap Trainer, I'll take that. That's sweet. And I'll cast Trainer. And I can still Kozilek's Command for 0 to deal with this Nether Goyf if that's important to me. And bank a stock up for the future. Okay, I just need to not die to my own ring. And that's what we're doing here. Thoughtseize. I guess I should command to deal with the Nether Goyf in response. Though, my hand is all bangers. Go ahead, dig in. I have 2 blockers. If I lose this game to Fatal Push, they only have 1 card in their hand. They need 1 card that kills 2 Thundertrap Trainers. and then they have to beat either Kozilek's Command or Stock Up with One Ring still cranking, I'll take it. Cards I need to worry about right now are if I get too rowdy into Orcish Bowmaster, I could lose. If they have the Bitter Triumph to kill Ugin, then they're tapped out, and I have all of my available resources to get to the spot where I can replace the ring or hit my last Glimmer Post. I'm being attacked. I'm going to block. And we are untapping with Ugin. I'm at 4. Tap the ring. They tapped out a Bowmaster, so I'm going to go nuts here. Karn, let's go. I will gain 3 life and draw a card. Just make sure I don't die to my ring. And Tower, cast Karn, exile Nethergoyf, get Lattice, game. Lattice, I'm just jamming here. Okay, and they're just conceding. Cool. GG's. I've been on the other side of this matchup a lot over the last 3 or 4 months, and it's bad. It feels really bad, and being on this side of it felt really good. On to the next one. 2 tempo decks down.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 3. I like this hand with the Lorien, the Stock Up. It rolls out well enough for me. Certainly we wouldn't play against 3 Wasteland decks in a row. The problem is the decks that aren't Wasteland decks are actually way more scary, and they're combo decks. Hey, once upon a time, are we Cradle Control? Are we lands? Are we Maverick? This looks like Cradle Control, which does sometimes have 1 or 2 Wastelands kicking around in their lands package. Savannah. Noble Hierarch. All right. Cradle Control doesn't do that. So is this just some Knight of the Reliquary deck? Planar Nexus. I have 3 mana. Unfortunately, that does not get me to this Stock Up because I have to filter 1 through. All right, pass. I have a 1 ring with mana to spare next turn. An accelerated Knight of the Reliquary is a little scary because that represents Wasteland every turn for the rest of the game. And there it is. The boss man himself. Do I want an island in my hand? I don't think so. I want blue cards in case I need them. Okay, Planar Nexus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 ring. I'm going to get Wastelanded every turn of this game, so that's going to have to be something that gets navigated. Another post showed up a little too late. Like, I couldn't have cast the ring without Nexus. But if I had drawn post, it would have done the same thing this turn while insulating me from Wasteland. Picking up the Force of Negation is nice, though, because that lets me counter a Zenith. Like, if they had Zenith for Ramnap Excavator, I'd probably just lose to that. Floating a black, rotating, certainly for Wasteland. Oh, Gaia's Cradle. They're trying to go big. All right, I like that. That's good for me. Orcish Bowmaster. I'm okay with this as well. Anything that's not Wasteland is fine here. Hierarch. Okay, so they just went for maximum damage instead, which, did that get me Ugin? 4, 5, 6? Not quite. I might have to draw cards. All right. Karn. Oh. Okay, so if I draw with the ring and hit a Glimmer Post or a Tower, that's great. All right, I'm going to take a draw. All right, I hit Glimmer Post. This is a shitload of damage they've presented. That Glimmer Post gains me 4, 5, 6, 7. Ugin deals with Knight of the Reliquary. Make 3 colorless mana. And that's going to Kozilek's Command to exile the Orc army and make a 1/1. Is that the best way I can do this? Or Bowmaster... Yeah. Target the Orc army, exile the Scythecat Cub with the trigger. And yeah, I want to make a 1/1. Exile target creature, target player, make spawns. I'll make spawns. Is the Orc army scarier than a Hierarch? I think it is. X equals 1. Exile Scythecat Cub with the bonus trigger. And we're back, baby. Okay, that decision not to wasteland me, and I understand how busted their turn was, but that was very good for me. I'm not saying it's wrong, because if I just played a tower from my hand, they're pretty screwed. It's just a decision of, do I want to put you in check or try to collapse your engine while you're holding the One Ring? And I respect the game plan to just kill me. I can counter a Green Sun Zenith, which is the scariest card I can think of right now. Craterhoof Behemoth from hand is not exciting for me. We know they're holding Talon Gates. I've got a backup Ugin in hand. And Questing Beast kills Ugin and deals a bunch of damage to me. Just Questing Beast down and dirty. I'm just guessing cards that could conceivably be in a Maverick deck. This could also just be Cradle Control with a White Splash. But no, they don't play Knight of the Realm. Frenzied Bee. Alright. Testing my counter spells with Knight of the Reliquary before casting the uncounterable one. Okay. Yeah, Trample Haste. Ugin goes to 1, I guess. And the messed up thing is that doesn't even matter. Like, yoy. This deck. This freaking deck. Alright, I'm going to start with Karn and exile Bowmaster so I can draw with the ring. Should I draw with Ugin first? Should I get something with Karn first? And Barrogoyf doesn't really help. I could get a backup ring, but Walking Ballista is kind of sick. Liquid Metal Coating. There's a bunch of stuff I could get here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could just cast another Ugin here. All right, I'm going to make them mana and then tap the ring. Okay, they just have nothing. Perfect. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana in the pool, and I still have my land drop, which doesn't help because it enters tapped and I've already used my Cloudpost. Maybe I could have sequenced that better. Oh, combat damage can't be prevented. That stops the ring, but I still think the ring is my best grab right now. I'll get a replacement ring, exile Knight of the Reliquary with that, keep the new one. I'll draw a card in response in case I hit Kozilek's command. All right, no love. And saved my land drop to this point. Chalice of the Void. Cast this, exile Frenzied Bee. And I don't think I need the Burst of Life, so I'll take the Burst of Mana for next turn. And pass, discarding, I guess it's Sink into Stupor? What am I even worried about here? Yeah, I'll discard Sink into Stupor, I guess. Cool. All right. That was momentarily scary. Opponent made a decision that gave me a window. These Force of Negations are coming out, and some Barrogoyfs are coming in. I think I want all my Force of Wills versus this deck, and Barrogoyf is less important because it's less about damage. Like, damage is part of the game, but they do also need to get control of the board before they pivot into that. Like, Barrogoyf, I'm thinking of it more as like a situational moat than as a important combat object win con. I think I'm going to stop right there. Just 2 Force Negations out, 2 Barrogoyfs in, and just be happy with the fair matchup. Okay, my hand has 2 mana and only cast Thundertrap Trainer. I'm going to mulligan this. All right. Okay. I think I just want to play mono brown, hit my land drops until they die, and I'm going to bottom stock up in the spirit of that. This hand is extremely resilient to 1 wasteland. It's not super resilient to an endless chain of them. Post in play. They didn't do anything with their mana on the first turn cycle. They could just be banking for a Once Upon a Time, which is what's happening. Scythecat Cub. That is one of the cards that can deal lots of damage very quickly to me. My thoughts. My hand is all lands that tap for 2 and colorless bangers. So this is a pretty low impact Thoughtseize as far as Thoughtseizes go. Do they have a 1 mana spell to play? Doesn't look like it. Okay, cool. Planar Nexus off the tippity top. What's the most mana next turn? The Cloudpost would represent 7. Tower plus Post would be 6. Yeah, it's Cloudpost. All right, ship it. I can't use 3 mana this turn for anything. I had multiple routes to 3 mana. They could do something like Zenith for Collector Oof to turn off the One Ring. They could Zenith for... They could play Cub, hit 2 land drops, make Cub really big, then next turn Zenith for Baloth and mash through the ring. All right, we've got a 1 creature Gaia's Cradle after not having any 1-drops for the first 2 turns. Do they have one now? Would they crop rotate, like aggressively crop rotate for a fetch land to make this thing really big? Or crop rotate for Wasteland to try to slow me down? To be determined. Stonks. Okay. I have 7 mana here, if I want it. That could get Ensnaring Bridge with 4 cards left in my hand. It's kind of a lot, especially if my plan is to follow up with the One Ring or card draw. I could put a 1/1 Walking Bliss into play. That doesn't sound good at all. They could kill Karn in combat pretty trivially. And if I do suspect that there's a crop rotation over there, protecting my Nexus for a turn would make some sense. I guess I'm just going to go One Ring. And I will invest the Nexus. And I know they play Baloth, but let's make them have it. Oh, yeah. Get some stuff together. Chalice on 1. Okay. And Baloth from hand or Zenith for Baloth both deal a bunch of damage to me this turn, but I have invested in Karn being higher impact next turn. And now Swords of the Plowshares, Noble Hierarch, Crop Rotation, Thoughtseize, all of that is off. I don't actually know if this is a completely fair Maverick deck or if there is some natural order stuff going on. We've seen Knight of the Reliquary, which makes me think we're on the fair side. But that doesn't mean they don't have Inatraxa and a Greater Hoof Behemoth in their deck. I don't know. Orcish Jabronis. This makes Cradle tap for a Kajillion. They have to target their own stuff this turn because I have protection. Baloth only prevents combat damage. Okay, a Cub. They're bi-cubbing it. Double cubbing. Dub Cub. And if they cast a Baloth from their hand here, that's brutal. Oh yeah, that's 14 damage. That's 17 damage. I'm actually dead here. Not literally, but I'm at 2. That was sick. Okay. I am at 2. And what can I do? I have 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. That's not enough to get empty. Ugin would still win this game, but I don't have him. Is there something to do with Ensnaring Bridge here? If I play land Karn, I'll have 3 cards in my hand. I've got 10 mana. That's not enough to get another card out of my hand. And these Orc armies are still really small to get under bridge for those last points. Can't draw with the ring because Orc is there. Okay, I think what I have to do here is Karn for Walking Ballista. And then Ballista for 1, kill Orc army. Or Orcish Bowmaster. Draw my 2 cards. Hope it's Glimmer Post plus action. All right, we didn't get there. Okay, that was awesome. The double Cub with Baloth using exactly the cards in their hand. Nice. Who needs a Wasteland when you can just run it down? Maybe combat's more important than I thought it was here. And Dismember is good. That is the card I would have cut otherwise. On the play, Chalice is better. Though they can function without Chalice, and I don't want to draw 2, so maybe I'll add a 3rd Moat and cut the 4th Chalice. Okay, I will try this. Okay, turn 2, stock up, or Kozilek's Command. I'll keep. And just run out classic basic island. Right, trusty old basic island past the turn. I would be surprised if they boarded in Choke or Carpet of Flowers against me. A Bayou Pass. I am going to go for a stock up here. Hello. Greetings, bangers. Nice to see you. I think... So Ugin is the guy in this matchup. That is where I want to be eventually. Do I give up on Chalice of the Void to take Ugin plus One Ring? Do I take mana plus Ugin to make sure we get there? My opponent's deck has demonstrated incredible damage output, which means taking a second Ancient Tomb makes me a little nervous, but Glimmer Post isn't actually a good land here. I'm going to go hyper aggro here. I'm going to take the top end card and the mana to get there. A Wasteland, finally. Confirmed it's in the deck. Okay, I am going to exile Cub and make 2 homies. Exile target creature, make spawns. All right, that's blockers, that's mana, that's pressure off. If they don't wasteland me, I have Ugin next turn. If they do wasteland me, I just replay Ancient Tomb, have Thunder Trap Trainer plus another command, and Ugin the turn after that. Wasteland confirmed. Another Cub. All right. Urza's Tower. I've got 6 mana here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Command, exile target creature, make spawns. I left a blue up in case I want to stock up right now, or Thunder Trap Trainer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I trainer, then I still have Ugin mana next turn without having to hit. Woof. All right. Love that. Taking the Ugin plays around Thoughtseize, taking Kozilek's Command plays around everything else. Nurturing Peatland. An elegant weapon from a more civilized age. It's just emergency draw card when nothing's going on. My opponent is in big trouble here. Interesting, they used white they left white up instead of green-black when it seems like most of their deck is green and black. What white card are they trying to hit off of that draw? Like Swords to Plowshares just to deny me 1 mana? Seems pretty rough. They're not close to Clarion Conqueror. Interesting. All right. Well, whatever it was, they didn't find it. All right, I could just invest Ugin and start doing stuff. Or I could spend this turn drawing cards. We know they played Nurturing Peatland, then sacked it. We don't know their hand is all spells because we actually suspect the opposite. Yeah, Ugin plus draw a card. If they have a removal spell for Ugin, that kind of stinks, but I will be miles ahead. I could also just stock up twice here. All right, I'm going to stock. Or I could stock into Karn. Lots of options here. I could play Barrogoyf. How's that one? Okay, I'm going to take Cloudpost and Barrogoyf. Or is it Force of Will Barrogoyf? That lets me protect. All right, yeah, Force of Will Barrogoyf. And then black, colorless, 4/5 Barrogoyf. Suddenly this is a problem. This taps me out of Ugin, but that's okay. All right, Force of Will, this is what we saved this for. I trust my deck to have mana in it for this Ugin, and I have Karn and Kozilek's Command if it doesn't. They have a Wasteland and a Knight of the Rel. Okay, this would be a big turn to come up with 1 mana. We did it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are we going to see a concession here? I wouldn't blame you. Yep. And they hit the button. Cool. All right. Well, we had 2 really interesting games. They did their whole thing. Game 1, I was able to absorb it. They did their whole thing. Game 2, I was not able to absorb it. Then game 3, they basically didn't do anything. And being this deck versus any fair deck, even a fair deck with Wastelands and large damage output, feels crazy. On to the next round. The run continues.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables.
I'm on the draw in round 4. I'm going to keep this hand, the double Tron. Ancient Tomb is the only way to turn 1 Chalice of the Void with this deck, but unlike most Chalice of the Void decks, we're trying to play a long game, which is interesting compared to all the various Chrome Mox decks that play Chalice and a bunch of ways to do it. Oh, all right, Wasteland Go. Wasteland Petal, so this is probably Eldrazi. These 2 cards are not found next to each other in very many decks. Yeah, I mean, being under the gun from Eldrazi Linebreaker on turn 1 is tough. And this Chalice is not going to actually hit anything on 1, so I'll probably play it out on 0, though they've already played 2 of their Lotus Petals. Super awk, but we play on. Ooh, Cloudpost. Would I rather have a Planar Nexus Wastelanded or a Cloudpost? I have 2 Nexi. But if they have 2 Wastelands, that doesn't matter. All right, I'm going to Chalice on 0. That one's happening. Okay, do I want... Okay, I'm actually going to lead on Nexus, and the reason for that is it's possible that they can't afford to Wasteland me if they want to keep playing the game. Like, this is their only land. If they don't have a follow-up, like if they want to cast more spells this game, they might actually need that Wasteland, and that's an interesting decision to put them to. If I just play tapped Cloudpost, it's less dire. But this thing is going to kill me very quickly. All right, they had it, or they did it. I know they had it. We saw it. And they did not follow up. Oh, wow. Another post. How does this scale now? I can guarantee 4 mana next turn, which I need for the ring. All right, I'm playing tower and passing. I need to hope that their hand continues to be nothing, and even then the game will still be close. Yeah, go to 8. Moment of truth. Second Wasteland? No, nothing. All in. Okay, Planar Nexus, 1 ring. Buy me a turn to breathe here. And I will pass the turn. Can I afford to draw a card? Does it change the clock? I think I can draw 1 card. Probably not more than that. All right, so I'm going to go to 7 in my upkeep. Ancient Tomb, actually pretty interesting, because that lets me Kozilek's Command the Line Breaker, and it's going to deal more than 2 damage to me this turn anyway. This does trample, so putting just blockers in front of it is not where I want to be. Okay, Ancient Tomb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exile this and make spawns. Exile target creature, make spawns. And I think I want to cast Karn now. I could cast Karn, wake up the ring, attack them with it. And what I'm thinking about here is a haste creature, because Karn can replace the ring next turn with the one from my sideboard. Okay, they just don't even want to see if the ring's going to kill me. All right. Yeah, they had a pretty aggressive turn 1 banger hand. I don't actually know if the Chalice on 0 clipped a Lotus Petal that was still back in their hand or what. And then, of course, the decision to Wasteland me when that's your only land is the decision I put them to, and they did bite on it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I don't know their hand, but they did use their only land to do that. All right, Chalice is close to a nothing in this matchup, especially on the draw when their Lotus Petals have already been deployed. Barrowgoyf is a 10. Force of Negation is like a 2. Chalice is like a 0.5 out of 10. I actually have more cards to cut than I want to bring in. I could bring in a 1 ring just so I have these more often. Like having one in the Karn wish board, there's reasons for that, but in a matchup that's about my life total and resolving bangers into their Wastelands and Thought-Knot Seers, I think just having more rings makes some sense. Do I leave in 1 Force of Negation? And I don't care about their Chalice of the Voids. Their Kozilek's Commands could matter. They don't usually have their own rings. I could bring in Walking Ballista, just as something to do. Now Karn can't wish for removal, but... Or I still have Moonsnare Prototype. That's kind of like Karn wishing for removal. Yeah, I just don't want these cards in my deck. Okay. That made my Karn a bit worse, but my deck a lot better. Alright, this is a turn 1 Dismember, turn 3 Barrowgoyf. I'm going to keep this. It interacts in ways that I care about. If they come out slow, I can develop the Cloudpost, and then maybe they have to waste me from behind. Giggity. I don't like Ancient Tomb Pass. This represents turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer, which if it strips my Barrowgoyf kind of stinks. But I mean, they gave me a window to develop Cloudpost, so I will. I'm not going to hold up Dismember, make my whole game plan worse just in case they have Thought-Knot Seer. Waste. This is not Thought-Knot Seer. Big. Fleshraker. Okay. Now I have real decisions to make. I could dismember this thing and develop Ancient Tomb untapped. I could dismember this thing paying 1 less life by filtering a black. I really don't want this in play. Alright, Planar Nexus. Do your job. Filter a black. Dismember, target this. Pay 2 life and the correct mana. I can't even wait until they like put Thought-Knot Seer on the stack or see what their turn's going to look like before I fire that Dismember, because Fleshraker gets you paid so quickly. Wasteland's a great follow-up. That takes me off both black and my Locust, but it costs them their turn. All right, now I'm in the spot where I need some mana. This is actually the first time in the entire league where I felt squeezed by mana in any sort of significant way. All right, looks like make a spawn, draw a card in the end step. And there's not a lot of black sources in the deck. Now that I have 2 Baraglyphs, I mind Thought Not Seer a lot less here, but still, I mean, once they know what's going on. Oh, wow. Main phase, draw 2, make 2 spawns. They are also struggling for action over there. It went top, though. They found the action. Okay, colored mana unlocked. They could still cast a line breaker right now and bring the ruckus. Yeah, there it comes. All right. I need Planar Nexus, Lauren Revealed, or Underground Sea off the top right now to be happy with my situation. Though I will take any mana. Don't get me wrong, deck. Oh my god. All right. Well, ask and you shall receive. Underground Sea, 5/6 Baraglyph. The largest and the in chargest. 2 Kozilek's commands have already been spent. It's bigger than Dismember. It's bigger than Linebreaker for now. They would need 2 more Eldrazi in play to make that a trade. And then it's up to me if I even want to make the trade. They could bounce it with the Battle Mage. Ugh. All right, yep. Had the Battle Mage. And this is going to be a ton of damage. This does grant haste. I haven't done the math yet. Can I even tap this Ancient Tomb in my turn? This is 7. Okay. I can still Ancient Tomb. Saying there's a chance. Oh, God. If I tap Tomb for 1 ring, I'm at 3. I go to 2 from the card I draw from the ring, and then I can't tap Ancient Tomb again. Yeah, it's just YOLO Baraglyph. Hope they don't have a follow-up and I can gain life 1 time this game. Wasteland. That was their draw for the turn because they missed a land drop last turn, which means the 3 cards in their hand, when I stuck the first Baraglyph, would have to represent 2 answers to Baraglyph. This is the magical 3, X equals 3 for a 3rd Kozilek's command. Wasted my post. Left me with Baraglyph mana. Oh no, not another one. This math is impossible. 2 of these have trample. Okay. I'm probably dead, but I will make whatever the best block is based on where they put their targets. I am exactly dead here. Sick. All right. Yep. I go to 8 and take exactly 8. Cool. That was a tight one. All right. Game 3 where I'm on the play. Do I think Ballista just being a body that I can cast sometimes is better than Force of Negation that hits exactly Kozilek's command if it's their turn? Yeah, I do like Ballista better. All right, here we go. Game 3, same deck on the play. This is a relatively quick ring. It's resilient to Wasteland. All right, I am going to keep this, and I'm going to play Waterlogged Teachings as a land on turn 1. One also kept 7. We hate it. I have Ugin with no Lotus Petal. All right, good. That's a scary turn too, but it's a 0 on this turn. All right, Cloudpost invests in future Planar Nexus equity while also representing the ring at the same time. Cavern of Souls. I can't counter your Eldrazi's. Oh, but you don't have any. Deal. Okay, so I'm going to have a 1 ring down before my opponent has dealt any damage to me or presented any pressure. I like that. I don't like how well they've developed. Like they didn't have a turn 1 play or a turn 2 play, but they've set up for massive plays on turn 3. Like if they go Glaring Fleshraker and then the rest of my hand, that is something that could work here. Reality Smasher. All right. Can't smash this reality. I have protection from everything, which includes reality. Urza's Tower. I would really like to find a Nexus. No such thing. Okay, so I've got command for 3 is the best I can do. What does Teachings get right now? Nothing helpful. Okay. Do I want a Thunder Trap Trainer and hold up command for 1? I could command for a lot more than 1. It's not even a lot more than 1. It is mostly just 1. All right, I'm going to go Trainer here. At least absorb some damage. Stock up Dismember, let's go. I was going to take that 5 anyway. And invest in Urza's Tower. Give myself better top decks for next turn. Oh, I am going to have to discard a hand size, so I might as well do it now. And lose the card that I was going to lose anyway, which I think is going to be Basic Island. Okay, that's a lot of damage, but I got the ward out for freezies, pseudo free. Another Cavern. I still don't have a counterspell. It's okay. Thought Not Seer. All right, I have 2 Karns, which is the best card in my hand right now. It took Kozilek's Command. That's my removal spell. Do they have the Haste Boy? No. Okay, wow. What's in that hand that they haven't dumped it out all over my face yet? Thundertrap Trainer. Ring, please. Deliver the goods. Planar Nexus, let's go. All right. That gives me 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana to play with this turn. That means Karn can cast a 5. This would be a spot where that ring that I boarded in would be useful, but this could be the ring that I boarded in. It's impossible to know. All right, Planar Nexus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to exile Thought Not Seer and make spawns, which also draws me a card. Big Rips. Ugin. That doesn't exile anything in this matchup, but it does gain life. I could Karn, wish for Coating, Coat Eldrazi Temple, be at 9, which is actually 6. I think I have to invest the Karn here. Because what am I doing next turn if I don't have something invested? Get Coating, leave a spawn back to block. If they've been sandbagging a Wasteland, my Planar Nexus is pretty fragile right now. If they can kill Karn in combat, then they get their mana back, but not till second main. End step. Are we getting dismembered? Yeah, we are. That's a sick dismember. All right, that's gone. Upkeep. Coat your temple. I can't take them off colors because they have 2. Okay, we didn't get Kozilek's Commanded or dismembered off of that at instant speed. Waste. This is 2, 3, 4, 5 mana for 1 spell, or 2x mana per number of smaller spells they could cast this turn. Reality Smasher. This will trample over for 4, so I'm at 1 going into my turn. All right. Oh, they're going for Karn. Thank you for that. All right. And if they have to play like I have a 1 ring in the sideboard, even though I don't, that's good news for me. All right, it's going to be a big turn here. Got to figure this one out. But I have a lot of resources with which to do it. I will start with a ring tap. That did not find another ring. What's my best pathway out of here? In Urza's Tower is the best land I can play this turn. I can invest that 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 mana to play with. This might be teachings for command to exile and make spawns. Or should I just start with a stock up? I think I'm going to start with a stock up. If I find a ring, this is just done. Glimmer Post. I've already made my land drop. Bad news, everyone. Did I blow it? Am I just going to get run over by Reality Smasher from here? All right, how do I see more cards this turn? It is another stock up is the answer. All right, stock up, and I'll take the Glimmer Post for next turn. I'm going to need it. And then here I have stock up mana plus ring mana. Does playing Ugin make more sense? That gives me 7. No, then I won't have... Like, I can gain 3 life, draw a card. All right, come on, deck. I can't trainer for more. All right, yeah, stock up. We're just looking for another ring. We've looked at most of the deck. Oh my god. Barrogoyf, but I don't have black? Sink into Stupor, but I don't have any colors? Oh no, did I fuck this? I think I've just simply lost the game. And we could certainly point at boarding out, or boarding in a ring, as Karn couldn't do what it needed to do this turn. I did also look at 16 cards this turn without finding a 3 of, and kind of a bad beat, but that's okay. All right, can I actually win this? Yeah, tapping Planar Nexus was a spew. Like, if I literally just, like, tap Urza's Tower or sack Spawn instead, that one was a mistake. That one's definitely on me. I'm just trying to figure out how I can play this deck better in the future, because I'm pretty sure I've lost this game. So I'll take these 2 Barrogoyfs. Wow. All right, well, I could play Karn and then die. Karn doesn't have, like, a Lotus Petal it can wish for and get me Barrogoyf. Fascinating. Okay, I'm about to concede. I just want to debrief first where It may or may not have been a mistake to board in the One Ring. I don't think it was, but we could certainly draw the line to, I'm dead because I can't wish for a One Ring right now. I definitely should not have tapped Planar Nexus. I was not playing to all my outs. I was thinking One Ring's my only out when actually Barrogoyf is a big one, and that was a huge mistake. I also could have just not rolled the dice. I had at the start of the turn the ability to Teachings for Kozilek's Command, Exile, Smasher, make a bunch of spawns, and we could have just played that game, and I decided not to do it. So one for sure mistake, and then two decisions that did not go my way here. Cool game. All right, GG's. On to the final round.
We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here.
I'm on the play in the final round. Positive record lock, playing for the 4-1. This is a great Force of Will hand, a terrible hand against Wasteland. I'm going to mulligan. Ancient Tomb, Glimmer Post. This is slow but steady. I really hate having 5 cards in my hand is the problem here. I think I'm going to keep and bottom sink into Stuber. And I'm going to play Ancient Tomb because that's the line that lets me stock up on turn 2. Even though it's also the line that gets cooked the hardest by Wasteland. But if they waste me, it gives me time to figure out what I'm up against and what I need to be stocking up for. Island Ponder. Handsome and smart opening. Okay, this could be Show and Tell, could be any generic Tamiyo deck. Blue-White Felia. End step, I am going to take my medicine to get my cure. And I have ripped Planar Nexus. And here's the stock up. One Ring, Cloudpost, Kozilek's Command are cards I'm considering here. I do have the Glimmer Post and the Nexus. Okay, Cloudpost and One Ring, I think, are where I want to be. Just banger after banger after banger. I don't really know what my opponent's doing yet, but let's figure it out. By force checking them, primarily. Tamiyo and Verdant Catacombs. Okay. Are we Dimir Tempo? Are we Bug Beans? Ooh, okay. They've got the flip, the turbo flip, which is unlucky because my Fun of Dismember is actually in my hand. Could have taken a move here if I had mana, but obviously I'm busy stocking up. Hard to complain about a turn 2 stock up. They also might think I'm Show and Tell because I haven't shown them any cards that indicate that I'm Dimir Post yet. I actually look like I'm Sneak and Show right now, or Omni Show. Okay, I would like to put a spell on the stack this turn. I have to decide which one it's going to be. Chalice of the Void's interesting. That lets me develop Cloudpost this turn and do more next turn. All right, I'm going to go for this Chalice, actually. I'm fairly confident my opponent is a fair deck. And Chalice is good against those, unless Omni Show has adopted Tamiyo, which also wouldn't surprise me. It probably should just be in all blue decks, and especially combo decks. If the combo deck puts everyone in the format in a position where they can't board out their fatal pushes, then the combo deck is thriving. A Savannah. Okay, we're just like Bant cards. It's a Fairy would be really good here. Clear the Chalice, protect the Tamiyo. Recruiter of the Guard. My goodness, what are we doing? I'm so excited. What is this? Tell me more. Oh my god, is this Bant Aloran? What Bant deck has 2 Recruiter of the Guards in it? This is awesome. I'm so excited. They forgot to activate Tamiyo, which must mean they're going to win next turn. Okay. Glimmer Post is worth as much mana as Planar Nexus, but Planar Nexus is worth more life than Glimmer Post if I sequence it this way. How do I beat Aloran? I have 6 mana this turn, no matter what land I play. That's enough to get Liquid Metal Coating and freeze their green. Okay, Planar Nexus, 1, 2, 3, 4, Karn. We also just have not tested this blue deck at all for their counterspells. I guess Stock Up and Chalice of the Void are conceivably cards you might want to interact with, so we have tested them a little bit, but not with anything as scary as Karn. Coating. It didn't force the Karn, did force the Coating. I'm passing the turn and hoping I'm not dead. Attacking Karn. Tamiyo grabbing the Force from the graveyard. Fair enough. A Swamp. Okay. This is looking more and more like, yep, there it is, and I'm fucking dead. Awesome. Finish me off. This rules. All right. Well, turns out in this matchup, Chalice on 2 would have been a lot more important. They're going to recruit for something that bounces one of the recruiters. And then they're going to recruit for something that bounces the thing that bounces the thing. Arctic Merfolk, kicker, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. And now they recruit for Cavern Harpy. And the Harpy can pick up the Merfolk, which can tutor the rest of their deck. I have to play this out, because right now... Oh, no, I don't. They have all the tutors. I don't actually have to play this out. I just want to see how they win. This rules. I always love losing to a Lauren. We have not played against a combo deck yet in the league, which is, I guess, one of the perceived weaknesses of a ramp deck in general. Just show me anything that drains my life or draws a card, either Channeler, return target. All right, Parasitic Strix. And they do have a black permanent, GG. Cool. Banta Lauren, let's go. Force of Negation comes in. I probably don't actually want my Barrowglyphs, even though they can go fair creature mode. Dismember, mediocre. I do like Chalice of the Void. I just need to, especially the second one. Like, if I get one early enough that they can't ponder or brainstorm, or that obviously matters, the second one being on 2 or 3 actually disrupts their win condition. I think I'm actually just cutting this one of Dismember for Force of Negation. This is just going to be a slugfest. Whoever gets to the top first wins. Okay, I have a turn 2 Chalice. I am going to keep this. And I'm going to develop Cloudpost first. Aloran generally can't afford to play cards like Wasteland because it's trying to resolve a 4-mana enchantment at some point in the game. And that's not trivial to do, even when you're not sacrificing your own lands. They had land go. I'm going to drop the first of many Chalices. That's in there. I don't like how quickly that resolved, but it is in there. We know they're a white deck, so, and they've been into the sideboard, so they could have things like Force of Vigor, Prismatic Ending, Teferi. They know what they got to play against here. I drew another island. I'm just going to play that and pass. I'll Lorien for my Underground Sea this turn, and then Chalice on 0, or Chalice on 2. Or, okay, or I'll get Abrupt Decayed. I think my next Chalice belongs on 2 anyway. All right, here comes Tamiyo. Suddenly unlocked. Cycle for the last island in my deck. Underground Sea. Ooh, Urza's Tower. All right, well, I'm going to develop that instead. And do the Spicy Chalice on 2. My options this turn were Chalice on 2 or hold up Waterlog Teachings and grab Force if I need it. But both of these function of cut down how effective a Lurin would be. Tundra. Brainstorm. This flips Tamiyo. Now, Chalice doesn't counter things that cost 2 or less. They could have cast this Brainstorm anytime, which means to me that they're either looking for a Force of Will to fight it, or they have their combo, or they have Force of Will and they want to see their cards sneak peek ahead of time to try to get ahead of it, so to know if they need to force it or not. Tamiyo can get back Abrupt Decay next turn, so Karn might have to Tormod's Crypt them before then. Weird game, but my opponent's playing a weird deck, and I like it. All right, Tamiyo plus. Ball Therapy resolves. Are they going to blind name Karn? That would be sick. The One Ring. Nope, swing and a miss. Aloran decks tend to be full of random shitty creatures, though, to flashback Ball Therapy with, but a lot of them cost 2. B-Storm. They're still spinning. If I top deck exactly Planar Nexus, I can cast Karn with Force back up next turn. Because I'll have 4 with the Nexus plus Tower, and then if they interact, I can Teachings for Force and then pitch, and then get Tormod's Crypt and clear the Abrupt Decay. That's crazy. All right, second Tamiyo. 3 cards left in hand. I hope Force of Will's not one of them. Or they could just therapy me off the Tamiyo right now. All right, here we go. What do you want? Probably Karn would be my guess, but Lorien Revealed's also a scary card. Karn the Great Creator. Yep, good call. All right, Planar Nexus off the top. Karn off the top. Banger off the top. Tower is not it. Okay. I guess here I just have to Lorien Revealed. Because without any bonus on these guys, the Waterlog Teaching can't get Kozilek's Command. And I can have 1 colorless mana left after a Kozilek's Command, or after a Teachings for command. And I can't command for 0, but I would need it to do it for 1 anyway. Okay, never mind. I don't know what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I'm casting Lorien Revealed, and I'm playing Urza's Tower to imagine a world where I get another turn and what that could mean. Okay. Ugin's in my hand now. And Abrupt Decay is green, so it will trigger the rarely seen flavor text of Tamiyo, which is return an instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. If it's green, add a mana of any color. So they get a rebate on buying back this Abrupt Decay. I just have to hope it costs them enough of their turn, enough development that this is a problem, because I have another Chalice now. I could replace it. If they spend their whole turn doing that, I could just have another one. They could also buy back Abrupt Decay, use the floating mana to play a Lauren, and then just go off with 3 drops. All right, Recruiter. We're recruiting. Tamiyo plussed already, so if they're gonna decay me, it's gonna happen next turn. Gaddock Teague. Interesting. Yeah, that card would be difficult to defeat if they were allowed to cast it. Thundertrap Trainer. Well, that costs 2, even if it costs 6. What are my choices here? Yeah, you really feel it when your land's all tapped for 1, huh? I could play a redundant Chalice on 2, which locks out the Teague and beats the Abrupt Decay. But then if they just plus to Tamiyo to 8, we have that traditional problem on our hands. But I could play Ugin next turn. Okay. Tower, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, does this get countered by Chalice on 2? No, because this costs 4. I think I'm getting in my own head right now. Yeah, Chalice on 1 would be countered by Chalice on 2. Yes, this is fine. All right. Another one. They have 3 cards in hand. If they have forced blue card Teague, this game might actually be hard to win. Okay, passing the turn. Now the Abrupt Decay line is off. I hope they just attack me for 1 plus Tamiyo and pass, and then don't have Consigned Memory in their hand. That would be great. Ponder. They use their white mana to cast Ponder, despite having plenty of green elsewhere if they had tapped Trop instead. Should I read that as they might need triple green this turn, or as they don't have white answers to Chalice of the Void in the deck? Ponder did not shuffle. Okay, well, the thing I'm worried about here is Consigned to Memory. I'm going to try to exile Tamiyo and see if we can get it done. No, don't tap mana! No! No! Okay, Force Negation's actually fine. The Ugin was flavor text. Dealing with Tamiyo is what I actually cared about there. Okay, sweet, sweet, sweet. The game continues. All right, we know they have 1 uncastable in their hand. Aloran could do a value 3-drop chain if they play it, but they can't actually win with the Chalices in play. Like, you can't Cavern Harpy in this environment. Or Arctic Merfolk. All right, Brainstorm could have just cleared this Teague, so we don't actually know anything anymore. If we ever did. The human condition. Another Recruiter. So I'm going to assume Teague was just shuffled away. I'm going to click it out, and we'll see what the other value engines in the deck are. Teague's kind of a gross card to put in your Aloran deck, because you can't Aloran with that. Okay, return another non-land permanent. All right, this could be a cantrip, could clear one of the Chalices. That could do a lot of stuff. A lot of options on that one. It could also pitch to Force of Will, which I hope is what it ends up doing. Okay, I am going to leave up mana that protects my One Ring with Force of Negation here, rather than mana that goes nuts if I rip Planar Nexus off of the draw. Okay, we're in. I'm going to draw first, though it doesn't matter because I can't cast Kozilek's Man anyway. Good job, me. Okay, passing the turn, I have stuck a ring. Force of Negation does not counter creatures. Academy Rector, let's go! All right. Opponent's got angles. Okay. That can tutor Aloran directly into play, and I don't know if they're going to have like a big alternate object to do with that. All right, I found Planar Nexus. Now we should be able to win pretty convincingly. I just went from 7 mana to 805. All right, Planar Nexus. We're in business. Unfortunately, they have exactly 3 power in play, which is enough to beat a Mycosynth Lattice. Well, at least this turn. It won't beat it next turn. I could tutor Walking Ballista and just kill all their shit. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Karn on the stack with a mana floating. What a game. Chalice of the Void on 2. The Silent Killer. Okay, so they have a Rector line in their deck. That doesn't mean I need millions of Fairy Macabres, but maybe just a little bit of respect for that could go a long way. Yeah, the Tamiyo buying back Abrupt Decay, Cabal Therapy, and seeing Rector, that's a bunch of reasons to want just a passive amount of Graveyard Hate. Just enough to show respect. Enforced Negation counters Olorin, but nothing else in the deck. I guess it counters their forces. Alright, I'm not going to cut any forces. I could cut a Thunder Trap Trainer because Chalice on 2 is my game plan. Feels tough to cut a card draw engine, though. Versus Sink into Stupor, and that's also interactive. It doesn't step on my own chalices. If the game gets weird enough, I will also Chalice on 3. But we'll jump off that bridge when we get to it. Okay, I'm just going to go one Fairy Macabre. Just one little lip service interaction with a Rector line. Chalice on 1, no follow-up. I wish I had any blue source in this hand. I'm going to mulligan. That hand is not good enough. This one bangs. All right, I will keep this and put, I think it's Ancient Tomb to the bottom. My opponent doesn't have land hate, and if we're racing, I'll just keep all the Cloudposts. Imagine a blind therapy naming Karn right now. Game on. All right, here we fucking go. Name Chalice of the Void. That's the scariest turn 1 play. Okay, yep, Chalice of the Void was named. However, the next creature they play will clear both Karns, and I cannot get Karn out of my hand fast enough to deal with that. This is actually a nightmare. All right, Cloudpost. It will cost them a creature. I hope they don't have something as free as just like a Baleful Strix to cantrip and then clear double Karn. If they have to sack a real thing like Tamiyo, I'll take it. I haven't seen any Icefang Quaddle Baleful Strix kind of stuff in 2 games, but I did have Chalice on 2 for the entirety of one of the games. And I haven't seen... I saw a couple basic lands game 1. I haven't seen a lot of basic lands, so I don't expect them to have Icefang Quaddle. I've never been impressed by that card in Olorin. I would rather just play 4 Strixes and not even have Quaddle in my deck than have more than one of them. All right. Is Tamiyo better as Tamiyo, or is it better as 2 Karns? It's better as 2 Karns. Unsurprising result. Though I could not cast these Karns next turn anyway, they could have developed a little longer. And I can't Kozilek's Command either because I have Post. I guess if I rip Planar Nexus, it's really bad for them. Okay. We play on Cloudpost, in play, pass. I can scry 0 and draw a card right now if I need to. The real action starts next turn. Normally having 2 of your payoff in your hand is good against discard decks, but not when the discard is specifically Cabal Therapy. Tamiyo's back. They know about Kozilek's Command. Island. Would I rather have access to Waterlogged Teachings or high roll Planar Nexus? I would rather high roll Planar Nexus. If they fetch in the end step, I'm going to delete Tamiyo and draw a card. Okay, now is the time. I'm actually going to draw a lot of cards. Scry X, draw a card. Exile creature. Well, I'm going to scry a lot. I only get to draw one of them. I haven't seen a Daze yet. Okay, bottom, keep Force of Will is actually pretty good. Bottom, top. This keeps the Olorin Monkey off my back while clearing Tamiyo and 2 lands I didn't want to draw. Pretty happy with that. Orcish Bowmaster. I'm not countering that shit. I'm at 20. Olorin is a combo that takes pieces to get rolling. Like, the 3 cards in their hand would have to be Green Source, Olorin, Recruiter, right? Exactly right now. You can do some basic math of how scared you need to be at any moment. All right, well, Green Source, check. Oh, they didn't fetch green, so they don't have Olorin. We're playing around something else here. Do they have Kaito? Do they have a hybrid build? No, okay, I didn't get Kaito'd. Something strange is happening. They're tapped and untapped their mana a bunch of times. It looks like they're trying to resolve an X spell or something with... Okay, Uro is annoying, but they don't have 5 cards in the graveyard yet, and I can tutor Kozilek's Command next turn. Oh my god, chill. You did not rip Cabal Therapy to make me empty. Oh my god. And they know about the teachings, and they have random material left to clear the force. All right, I gotta rip a good one right now. Yep, Waterlogged Teachings, named with Cabal Therapy, maybe for the first time in Magic's history. Okay. I'm scared. Big rips, 1 ring, Karn, 1 ring! Hell yeah. Ka-chow. And they can't have Force of Will because they only have 1 card in their hand. Draw. Oh shit, I literally did that backwards. I've been in the habit of doing it that way. Oh, cool. They played it honest and still just targeted their own guy. I appreciate that. I don't deserve it. Okay, passing the turn. So now their hand would have to be, once again, green source, a Lauren, and a tutor to get going, and they only have 2 cards in their hand. So by fetching this Tundra, they basically said, I'm not going to Aloran. They can cast Uro, though. And Bowmaster is pressure versus my 1 ring, but I'm generally pretty happy taking my chances with a 1 ring active. I could even kill Bowmaster with Karn for Ballista if I care. I'm not convinced I do, but it's there. Will depend on what I draw. As always, Planar Nexus is the best draw. Right, Uro's doing stuff. Back up to 2 cards in their hand. Did not put a land in. Both of those cards are spells. Lorien Revealed. That's a dangerous card to cast in the face of Orcish Bowmaster. All right, what's the damage output here? If I draw 2, I go to 14 immediately. Then they attack me for 6, 10, 11. I'm at 3, and then I take 2 in my upkeep. That's ugly. The alternative is Karn, get Ballista, ping the Bowmaster, then draw 3, which puts a lot of my cards on the table, but I do have force backup for that. And then I have to beat Uro plus Orc Army. All right, I'm going for Karn. I could also just get Ensnaring Bridge here and try to turtle. If they do anything and I Force of Will, then that's better. If I can get empty, this is better. Yeah, I think I'm actually scared enough of Uro that I should get Bridge here. And I hope they do fight over it, but not with Abrupt Decay. And I'll just leave my ring untapped right now. All right, cast like any spell pre-combat except Abrupt Decay, and we'll be okay. Okay, they are going to combat. Attacking Karn, which means I could tap the ring now, and the extra damage will not be used. Because, like, they could still ping me for 2, but the size of the Orc Army doesn't matter because Karn is going to die regardless. So I take 2 from this ring instead of 4. I've got the replacement ring and the Ugin. Big Ugin is what I've really been looking for here. Exactly enough mana to cast it. They've got a Cabal Therapy in the bin. Would they blind name Ugin? That would be so sick. Ponder resolves. And now, depending on how my hand plays out here, the Orc Army might be too big to attack under the Ensnaring Bridge. So I am in a 1 ring life card size everything management system at the moment. This might come down to how good they are with this Cabal Therapy. They've mentioned Ugin in the chat. After game 1, they were like, I had to put you to Ugin, so they're aware this is a card that I have. The Orc Army probably is not going to get to attack, and I'm probably going to draw extra cards anyway, so that's... I mean, it might be a tough sell to pitch a 4-4 to Cabal Therapy when life total is what matters, but if it gets any bigger, it won't be good. All right, I'm going to let this resolve, and there's a good chance they do name Ugin, but okay, they named Force of Will. Am I just dead instead? Am I getting Aloran out right now? Gadok Teague. Well, I can't cast any of the spells in my deck now. That's not fair. And I boarded out my Dismember. Do I have any out to Gadok Teague? Oh no. That's tough. And my Baragorths aren't in. I can't cast Kozilek's Command. I can't do anything. All right, I'm going to cycle Lorien Revealed and look at my deck and just determine if I can even win. Sink into Stupor. Okay, I have Sink into Stupor. So I can, in fact, win the game, maybe. Thundertrap Trainer works as well. Okay, I am not completely iced. I'm just mostly iced. They pass the turn. This means their Aloran and their Force of Wills don't work either. And drawing 3 is going to deal 6 to me. 3 from the ring. 3 from the Bowmaster. There's Tamiyo. Brainstorm. I'll draw in response to Brainstorm. If I just want less chance that they have a second Bowmaster. Yeah, Gadok Teague, absolute unit. I'm not on 0 outs, but I'm really close. And I did not find them in that. My hand's big enough for Uro to attack now, and I'm a lot worse at getting my hand empty than I was a minute ago. Thundertrap Trainer. Saying there's a chance. All right, how do I actually play this? Planar Nexus is involved. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave mana floating. Cast Conqueso. This is 2 blockers and a big dig, and they can't force it. I could fail to find here to make Uro unable to attack. Like, these 2 cards don't actually help me play the game. All right, fail to find. And moment of truth. I'm dead to my own ring. Ah, we got it. There it is. Okay, that's the card I needed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How do I do this now? It's not good, regardless. Oh, no. I can bounce Gaddock, but it'll be right back. And then what? They're not showing Force of Negation right now. Okay. I am out of mana. Okay, I have to bounce Teague. And everything else stems from that moment of truth. And then Kozilek's Command. I'm dead to my ring. I have to play my ring. I'm just dead to everything. I'm dead if I tap my ring. I'm dead if I don't. If I Kozilek's Command exiling Bowmaster, I don't have a way to clear my ring at instant speed. I've made my land drop already, so Glimmer Post isn't coming. And now their Force of Wills are on. Alright, I will play this 1 ring, keep the new one, and then die to Gaddock next turn because I can't even represent Force of Will right now. Teague! I'm not dying to my own ring anymore. I got that going for me. Abrupt Decay Bridge. Okay, well, I currently have protection. That'll have to do. Okay, the outs here are the other Sink into Stupor. Right, opponent's going to attack with Uro because there is value to doing that. Right, Orc Army also attacking. I'm going to block Uro with my trainer because it's going to die anyway when I draw a card with the ring, which I am going to do. Force of Will, halfway there. A blue card short, fending off the Teague. Tameo minus target Ponder. Brainstorm. Did it target Brainstorm? Oh no, that was Brainstorm, not Ponder. That is the card they just got. And they tap their white mana to Brainstorm. Are we not going to Teague me, bro? Or are they going to pivot into Alurin and then do it that way? If they don't have white to replay Teague, we've got a chance. Baleful Strix. I don't care about that. And they're tapped out of white and green now. There's not one land they can play that makes white and green. Hardcast Cavern Harpy. What's going on here? Are we back? Are we back? Okay, I go to 2 in my upkeep. I draw for turn. It is a blue card. That is relevant. Okay. I'm going to save my land drop for Glimmer Post, even though Cloudpost is worth 2 mana right now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ugin. Oh my god. Ugin. Exile Orcish Bowmaster so I can ring some more. If they have Force, I can force back, go to 1, then gain 3 life with Ugin, and then continue playing. If they have 2 forces, I'm cooked. All right. Force of Will. Pitchcast. I'm at 1. Bowmaster's exiled. Ugin's in. Oh my god. Gain 3 life, draw a card. I must do that or I'll die to my own ring. Chalice of the Void. Okay, 1 ring's going to draw 2, which will put me to 2 in my upkeep. I can handle that. Holy smokes. Okay, we're back. We're back. They can bounce Cavern Harpy if I target it with anything, but I don't need to do that. Urza's Tower. I'm going to Chalice on 2. That locks out the Teague, and I can still double Kozilek's Command. Or no, I need to do the Kozilek's Command first. Right, Kozilek's Command, exile Orc Army, and I draw a card. Exile Orc Army, target player draws a card. And with the trigger, I'm going to exile Uro. They just said in the chat they tapped wrong and got punished. Yeah, I noticed. Teague was doing it all there. 4-color mana bases can be challenging to navigate. Okay, and here, if I Kozilek's Command for spawns, okay, I'm going to Kozilek's Command for draw and spawn. Target player scries X, make spawns. All right, target me with both, and I'm going to target Cavern Harpy with Ugin's trigger. I just need to take this 2 damage off the board. I'm not worried about a Tameo at 1. Yeah, they bounce that in response. That's fine. I scry 5, make 5. Karn's there. All right, Ancient Tomb to the bottom. Planar Nexus to the bottom. I'm good on those. Is stock up helpful anymore? Karn. I currently have 5 mana available. All right, stock up to the bottom. Karn on top, Kozilek's Command on top. And then I'm going to Chalice on 2, which exiles Tamiyo. That turns off Teague and Bowmaster. Okay, that was a big turn. I have not completely gotten out from under it. I'm 1 mana short of being protected with Kozilek's Command. And we'll see if there's an Aloran line that can get me without 2-drops here. Or if they could just deal 2 damage to me somehow. I mean, like, Witherbloom Command doesn't work. Recruiter of the Guards back in. What can this get? Oh my god, the Strix. Like, the win condition, the 3 mana Strix that drains you would actually kill me here, but they need a black permanent to go off with that, so not actually true. Right, they banked a Rector for next turn, and I do have to navigate a turn of Ring here. We're not completely done. The Karn can get the replacement Ring. Yeah, they can't Bowmaster, so I can tap my Ring here. That's safe. Okay, Waterlogged Teachings can be a Force of Will if I need it to be. I would like Ugin to gain life and draw a card. Glimmer Post, there we go. That's the one I was looking for. Now I'm completely unburnable. Daenerys Targaryen, the Unburnt. That's me. Mother of Dragons. Karn, Exile Recruiter. And now that I have this life bubble, I think I actually want to Lattice and just be done. Lattice. Cast it with lots floating. I can back it up with a Hardcast Force of Negation. And we got the GGs. What a tight one. I lost my round 4 to a mistake, then I won my round 5 to a mistake. We'll take it. I'm not too proud. All right, I'm going to cast I should not cast Waterlogged Teachings because Force of Will doesn't even work because there's no blue cards anymore. We're just exchanging some pleasantries. Opponent said they let up their Stranglehold. I said, yeah, that was big, and their deck is sweet. It really is. I love Aloran. I love Bant. It's both. And maybe I'm supposed to leave and dismember if I see Gaddock Teague. Note to self. And we're out. 4-1 record. A blatant mistake led to my loss. A blatant mistake led to a win. So those kind of washed out. Thanks, Magic Gods. And this deck was pretty nice. It seems like what you're actually worried about is combo, not Wasteland. I played against a handful of Wasteland decks, and they were, I don't want to say easy, but it did feel like we had the ability to just keep pushing forward. Having the Cloudpost engine that can function without Nexus, but then also the tower that goes nuts with Nexus, but Nexus also pops off the Cloudpost, and we just have Ancient Tomb. We're cheating on mana in so many different directions here, it's hard to collapse it with 1 or even 2 Wastelands. The Eldrazi deck that had Wastelands backed by 5/5s, that was scary. Wastelands backed by 2/3s or Tamiyo was not as scary. And it turned out to actually be the combo deck, which shouldn't really be a surprise, but while my Aloran opponent was just like doing random stuff with Tamiyo that I didn't care about that much, the Aloran showing up and threatening to win at any point was something that was tough to manage. But that's why the deck has 7 forces in it. Buy yourself room to start functioning there. We didn't play against a Doomsday or a Show and Tell or a Storm, like any of those big combo decks, but Chalice of the Void and Karn are quite good against at least Storm, and Chalice plays against Doomsday. The cards are obviously good in this deck. The question is the mana good? And I think the answer to that question is a resounding yes. Much to think about regarding this deck. If I don't play it myself at any of the upcoming Eternal Weekends, I have to at least remain aware that other people are going to, and trying to register like Tamiyo Days Netherglyph seems like a mistake if people are going to be doing this shit. I'm going to leave this one here. Andrew, thank you for asking me to play it. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.